going to be really, really great. Mr. McCulla is here to talk today. Thank you so much for coming to support this. This is my Girl Scout Gold Award. So everyone got a little card. Basically what you're supposed to do with that little card, if at any point today you learn something, you write it down on your card, and then you look at it and you're like, wow, look how many things I learned. Or if at the end you're like, wow, I didn't learn anything at all. What did you get out of this lecture? How do you feel at the end? What did you do? Sorry, I'm assuming you're going to learn something.
That's the goal.
So, what did you get out of it? What did you learn? How do you feel at the end? Also, we're going to be passing around a book, a binder. Just please write your name in it for attendance reasons so we can see who came. Thanks. All right, so without further ado, here is Mr. McCulla. Yes!
Happy birthday! Thank you, Elizabeth. I just want to thank you, take a minute, thank you for putting this awesome series together. For those of you guys who don't know, it's going to be about like a 6-week series happening twice a week. So I just want to say thank you for putting it all together, contacting all the teachers and everybody working it out to get everybody's schedule straight. And I want to thank you for finding me interesting enough to actually read off the series. No pressure. No pressure. It doesn't seem like that long ago that I was where you guys are now. I was trying to find my way like socially, athletically, musically, and academically through high school. And to be perfectly honest, I could probably focus more on the academic side of things, but I wasn't really that motivated of a student. I remember those feelings well, and I still have the flashbacks to them. Because it was only 10 years ago, like I'm having my 10-year class reunion this year. So it wasn't that long ago that I was really where you guys are, and I was feeling the things you guys are feeling. So when Elizabeth approached me about speaking to you, as if this was going to be the last time that I could give advice, this was going to be the last time that I'd stand up in front of students, I really struggled to find like the words I wanted to say that wouldn't sound cliche, that wouldn't sound too cheesy or too corny. Basically, find the words that I would not usually say in class. And in the end, what I realized is the majority of our lives are spent trying to do what's either asked of us or expected of us. We study to get good grades so we can go to a good college, so we can get a good job. We practice countless hours to be the best on the court, on the field, in the band room, in choir, or on the stage. And we keep commitments not because it's what we want to do, but because it's something we have to do. And after all, it's the right thing to do. And after all these thoughts came rushing through my mind, I finally came to the conclusion that the precious free time that we have is really the only time that we ever get to be ourselves, to be who we really are. Does anybody else here see a problem with that? That the one thing, the most important part of being us, like actually being us, being honest, being open with ourselves, is the one time we spend the least amount doing? And I look back on my life, and I start to see all these different stories. You know, we tell you guys to reflect once a quarter. Hopefully someday that will mean something to you. It'll mean more to you than it means right now. It means more than just writing an essay to get a grade. And that's what I really spent my time doing with this speech. I spent time reflecting at my life, looking at my life from all different angles. And I get to see all those different stories that shaped me to who I am today. I gotta be honest, a lot of the stories are a little blurry. After 7 concussions, things happen and you start losing pictures. And please don't expect like any stories before 4th grade, because that's when I got my first concussion, when I fell out of a tree. Yeah, it was awesome. My sister still says it was the best sound she ever heard. It was like all the air leaving my body. I don't know what happened. I woke up and I was on the recliner in the living room going, what happened? So don't expect stories before 4th grade, because my memory doesn't really click in until then. But what I do remember is a constant struggle to be who I thought everyone expected me to be, or to be what everybody wanted me to be. And I look back and really, one of the forever is seared into my mind is this traumatic, horrible, awful realization that in 4th grade, I needed braces. For those of you who have braces, you completely understand. It is a traumatic experience, especially in 4th grade. It was really bad for me. I had hit the socially awkward trifecta. I had glasses. I needed braces. And in 4th grade, I was finishing up my time with the speech teacher for my speech impediment. Which was doubly cool because like the requirement to get out of speech class was being able to say her name. Mrs. Cicela.
Wow.
I never read. Try saying that when you can't say your S's. And I remember looking back on that day, and I can imagine right where I was sitting in Mr. Horton's class. And I told somebody that I was going to get braces. Pretty soon, word spread, and some kids started making fun of me. Just started ripping on me for needing braces. And I heard all the comments from that one kid. And everybody in class was laughing. Fast forward 20 years from then, and now like he's in and out of jail, so because he was too cool for school, so looking back I can take the higher road, but right then and there, it was really rough. But I did learn a really valuable lesson that I think too many of us learn at a very young age. And that lesson was, if you're laughing, it's okay. Even if it's at somebody else's expense. And that lesson kind of got seared into my mind at a very young age. It went against my values, it went against the way I was raised, it went against the way I wanted to be. But really, it was better than being on the laughing side. It was better than being the joke. And I struggled with that experience throughout the rest of elementary school and into high school. I remember another story I had, like, there was this girl, her name was Katie. We were in 6th grade. Really liked Katie. Sat next to her in all my classes. I liked her about as much as a 6th grader can like somebody else. And we passed notes back and forth because, we didn't have phones, we didn't text. Because, well, they didn't have them yet. But we passed notes back and forth, and I remember getting a note from her saying, "Would you go to the 6th grade dance with me?" I know, right? Cute story. And so I immediately checked yes. Like, this is perfect. I'm in 6th grade and I have a girlfriend. Like, yes. And then on the playground, because that's what stuff happens. On the playground, I was with my friends and they started making fun of Katie. And right here's like my values and who I wanted to be versus who I thought I was supposed to be. And I should have stood up for her. I should have defended her. I mean, this was the girl I liked. But instead, I made jokes about her. I laughed at their jokes. I went back to class immediately and wrote her another note saying, "My cousin's having a surprise birthday party. I can't go to the dance." Basically, it was a surprise to me that he was having a birthday party because I made it up. But I learned to put aside who I actually wanted to be and who I was in favor of being part of a group, not being made fun of. And I kept this attitude through high school. And it honestly led me to some of my really not so proud moments. When I look back and when I reflect on my high school experience, I see times where I'm just like, what a jerk. And I really, part of the reason I wanted to give this speech, part of the reason I wanted to go first, is I want you guys to not be jerks. And so I can only do that if I'm completely honest with you about my high school experience. Throughout high school, I always found myself torn between being friends with people and being popular and activities that I loved and who I was. I went, and it was a little different for me. I went to a high school where we graduated a class of 70 kids. And we were the last large class in the county. Like to this day, fast forward to this day, and there's only, I think they're graduating 40 kids. And then neighboring school district graduates 12 kids a year. So, much smaller school. Like you guys in here right now, you're my graduating class. So of course, you're pushed and you're expected to do a lot of things that you might not really want to do. By the end of my senior year, I look back and I was the student representative to the school board. I had worked 6 months being the drive-through manager person at Burger King. I still to this day say that was my favorite job ever. Best job ever. I played baseball until I was 16. I switched to track junior year, and it just seems like the list was never ending. It went on and on and on. And to be honest, like a lot of the stuff was stuff I didn't really care about. Stuff I wasn't passionate about. And I also look back and I see that one of the biggest conflicts that I had was between my different social circles. I always joked in high school that when I had a birthday party, I needed to have like 2 or 3 different birthday parties because nobody in any of my friends groups got along with each other. There was the athlete in me who, you know, like I enjoyed playing basketball. I enjoyed it, I loved it, I ran track, I played baseball. But then there's this part of me, it's really a bigger part of me that really loved just being in the band. I was a band kid. I started playing the trumpet in 5th grade, switched to baritone. Then finally, in 8th grade, I made the switch to tuba. I love music. And I felt at home with the band kids. I felt like this is where I belong. Every time I stepped into the band room, I was like, this is where I belong. But there was a problem. Athletes and band kids don't generally get along. And I found myself at times, I tell this story in class, like I found myself at times like bullying myself, making fun of myself. When I was with the band kids, I would make fun of the athletes. I'd make fun of the record, even though that's part of the reason the record wasn't so great. Or at least I was on the team. And I found myself with the athletes making fun of the band kids. And no matter where I was, no matter what group I was, it was hard to feel like myself. It was hard to live up to what I wanted to be and who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. Luckily for me, I had 2 extremely awesome teachers in high school. Still remember them to this day. I actually even invited them to my wedding in August. Miss Andrews, who was my chemistry teacher, and Mr. Sensing, who was my band teacher. Without these 2 teachers, I don't know if I would be here today in the school. These 2 teachers kind of like shaped me they kind of encouraged me to be who I wanted to be. They gave me that outlet. They gave me that chance to say what I was feeling, say what I was thinking, and to be myself. Not all the time did it go over so well that I was being myself, like when I went to do homework at all for chemistry. And I just kind of coasted from January until May without ever opening a textbook. But Miss Andrews was always there. She was always there to encourage me. She was always there to get you back on track. And really, that's the lesson that stuck with me. And when I would go to college, like I wrote a letter to Miss Andrews thanking her. As part of an assignment, it was to thank the person who made you a teacher, and I wrote her a really long letter saying thank you. Because she gave me the chance to be who I wanted to be. When it seemed like everywhere else I turned, I was conflicted with myself. One of the probably like worst stories I have, and I still feel bad about this to this day, was one of my best friends in high school had his heart set on being senior class president. Really wanted to be senior class president, had a campaign, had speeches, had posters and everything going on. But some kids made fun of him and thought it would be really funny if somebody ran against him. So, guess who ran against him? Guess who won in a landslide? I do not feel proud of this moment. I mean, he got me back because now every 5 years I have to plan the entire class reunion. So he got me back a little bit. But looking back, I'm like, you are a jerk. Like, this is what this kid wanted, and you just ran it as a joke. Which also led to a lot of conversations with Mr. Sensenig and Ms. Andrews. Like, why'd you do that? And I honestly don't know. So I look back at high school, and I kind of see, like, it was a time of growth for me. It's a time of, it's your chance. Like, you're in your chance right now trying to figure out who you are. And the best piece of advice I can give you about high school is, who cares what everybody else thinks or says or does? Do what's going to make you happy. Do what you do whatever you can or whatever you want to, that at the end of the night, you can go to sleep and not feel bad about the choices you made that day. Because this time goes by really, really fast. It is really quick. And at some point you're going to be looking back saying, I could have probably done better. So aim for that. Aim to do better now, while you're here. Do we have seniors here? Cool. You guys are about to go into an awesome time period of your life. You're about to go to college. College, for me, was a chance to change who I was and to be who I wanted to be. College is a chance that you can finally cut ties with the people that you just don't like, but you've been putting up with for 4 years. In my case, I've been putting up with them since kindergarten. Because there's only one elementary school in my county and there's only one high school. And you are friends with each other from kindergarten through 12th grade. But for you guys, it's a chance to break away. For me, it was a chance to break away. I went to my college with 8 other kids from my high school. I stopped being friends with pretty much all 8 of those kids. Because they weren't who I wanted to be. I wanted to make the change. I wanted to make the switch. I wanted college to be a fresh start. And in college, I mean, it's a beautiful thing, seniors. It's an awesome thing. It's your chance to be around people that think like you, act like you, enjoy the same things as you, and yet you're not in a minority. Like, there's clubs, there's groups, there's people for everyone in college. And it's fantastic. And I started finding those people the very first day in my American history class. Because you're around like-minded people in your same major who are interested in the same things as you. And there I found a really close group of friends. In those 4 years of college, I found a very close-knit group of friends, but by no means did I have a lot of friends. In high school, I went from being popular, being involved in everything, to college, not being that involved, and only having a couple friends. But looking back at it, like, and that for me, at that time period, I was really struggling. Is this what I want? I just went from knowing everybody in the entire school, and everybody knowing who I was, to knowing 5, 6 people, 10 people. Am I okay with that? And I really struggled with that in college. Like, am I okay with just knowing a few select people and being okay? Because I've always been outgoing, I've always been social, I've always done everything that was asked of me. I've always gone above and beyond. And really the answer came out as, yeah, I started looking at myself and I started realizing, you know what? I am an introvert. I don't know if you guys believe that, but I am completely introverted. I go home every day after school, after practice, and I literally crash. I literally have no energy to do anything else because it's so exhausting being on a stage all day. I didn't mean for that to happen. It's exhausting for me. And I don't really enjoy social situations. I don't really enjoy being around a lot of people and meeting new people. It's a struggle. But in college, I started to realize that's who I am, and I need to learn to be okay with that. I need to be okay with being shy. And I was. And I started to accept myself more, and really the person who really helped me get over this and be okay with this and not care what other people thought about me was my sophomore college roommate. I lived with her for 3 years. And yes, it was a her. I lived with her for 3 years. And she was kind of the person, like, I think we all know these type of people who just didn't care what other people thought about her. Like, she's gonna do whatever she wanted, and if you tried to tell her otherwise, she was gonna come back at you with a lot of words that aren't appropriate to say right now. But I'm thankful for her. Like, she was my best friend in college. And we got through college together, and she made me be comfortable with who I was, and made me say, and she would say it to me at times, she's like, do you even want to do something like that? I'd be like, no. She'd be like, just don't. Like, I think we all need somebody like that in our lives to show us that it's okay. I still struggle with that. It was hard to let go of old habits. It's hard to let go of being a jerk and being a class clown and just doing stuff to have fun and just doing it to laugh at people. And then something major happened. My senior year of college, right before I was supposed to student teaching started the next day. Many of you know, I fell out of a window. It's okay to laugh, it's fine, it's over. I fell out of a window going to get an icicle. Yes, that's the true story. Yes, that's the real reason. I just wanted a 6-foot-long icicle, and I fell out of a window. Second story window. I missed the pile of like 4-foot snow by this much. And landed on the freshly shoveled concrete road. Head first. Head first. 2 stories. Cracked open my skull. Broke my skull in like 2 pieces here and here. Broke my eye bones. Rubbed off my ear on the shingles. Broke my shoulder blade. And pretty much I had to be driven to Pittsburgh University of Pittsburgh's Medical Center in Pittsburgh, which was about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from my university. They had to put me into a coma to get me there. I called my parents at 2 a.m. I can't imagine that phone call. I called my parents at 2 a.m. saying, your son is in a coma and he's on his way to Pittsburgh. You probably need to be there to make decisions for him. I got there, and man, I have very spotty recollection. Very off and on recollection of what happened for the 6 days I was in the ICU. I remember my parents signed me up for some experimental drug treatment to try and wake me up out of my coma, to which I always remind them, thanks a lot. But the nurse came in, and the nurse she was all set to give me the shot, At 9:59 when she walked in, I woke up, I looked at her, I blinked my eyes. I may or may not have flipped her off because I hate needles. And I passed back up. She came out holding the bag and the syringe as my parents told me. She's like, here's the needle, here's the syringe. She's like, just so you know, your son woke up. He flipped me off. And my mom was like, yeah, he hates needles. And the nurse is like, no, that's actually the best sign possible because we know he can move his hands. It's true. So if you're ever in that situation, move your hands. But then they started doing x-rays, they started doing tests, they started doing all these sorts of treatments on me and these things. And it turns out I needed only one small little surgery. Put a coil in my head. To keep me from having an aneurysm. That was it. Other than that, everything healed back on its own. And I would go to doctor's appointments after that. I never even knew this was a thing, but there's like cognitive therapy. Like to make sure your mind works. And I had to go see a cognitive therapist. And I remember the receptionist, or the nurse there. She looked at me, she read my chart, and she looked and she's like, child, you are highly blessed and highly favored. I was like, huh. I didn't really think of it that way. And that moment kind of like changed my life for me. Like, after that moment, I made it a goal to be thankful and happy for the things I have. And for the people I have. Because people I had not talked to in 4 or 5 years I went to high school with, they showed up in my ICU room. They stood with me. They held my hand for hours. They talked to me. I didn't really know they were there. But I'd wake up just enough to see like a face. It made me realize, if you want to make a change in who you are, you've got to start someday. Why not make it as soon as possible? And from that experience, like, I just learned to be thankful and appreciative. I saw how many people cared about me. And it made me want to be a better person to them. I wish I could say that from that moment on, I've always put other people first. I've always helped other people. I was never a jerk. And I wish I could say that I never cared about what other people thought of me. But still to this day, when I walk into a room, the first thing I think of is, how do I conform? What's going on? If I'm going out to a restaurant, what's everybody else ordering? Am I going to order something weird? Am I going to order like the wrong thing? Am I going to do it different? Like, those thoughts still rush through my mind. So I haven't perfected it by any means. But I do think, like, I sit back and I'm kind of like, you come a long way. And the point of me telling you the story about falling out the window is I don't want it to have to be some traumatic life experience that you go through where you nearly lose your life before you become who you want to be. Or before you start taking the steps to be who you want to be. And I don't want you to leave here today thinking that I regret the way I live my life. I don't. I'm a true believer that as long as you are truly happy with who you are, as long as you're 100% honest with yourself when you're answering that question, then you shouldn't have regrets. Life is meant to have mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to screw up. It's okay to do that. It's okay to stumble along the way, even if you're working on being the person you want to be, or the person that you really know you are. It's okay to make those mistakes. I'm lucky enough that after all of this and all of the stories that I cannot tell you, mostly because I don't want to, that I can look at my life now, I can reflect on my life now, and I can say, you know what? I am happy. I get to come to a job that I love. I get to interact with you guys on a daily basis, and believe me, ask any teacher in this building, you are the best part of this job. I get to pass on my advice. I get to talk to you, I get to interact with you, I get to know what's going on in your lives. And in my personal life, I've been incredibly lucky to find a girl that I can be 100% myself around, and she laughs at my stupid jokes. She laughs when I do something ridiculous because on top of everything else, I'm a little OCD. I have to do things a certain way. And for the first time, I'm in that relationship where, like, I'm comfortable. I'm happy. And we're getting married in August, which is awesome. So even though I look back on my life and I find these not so proud moments, if it wasn't for those moments, I want to be who I am today, I want to be where I am today, and I certainly wouldn't be up here talking to you guys. So what I want you to leave here with is an idea that I actually heard while I was thinking about this speech. I heard it on the radio as I was driving, and I don't know if it's a song lyric, I don't know if somebody was saying it, but it stuck with me. When you get to where you want to be, don't forget to turn around and help the people who are still back where you were. Be that friend in college that is confident enough to help other people. Be whoever you want to be. As long as you're happy with it, be that person. I want you to be comfortable with who you are. If your thing's athletics, if it's music, if it's academics, then be that for you. Be that because you want to be that, not because somebody else wants you to be that. And always help other people realize the same lesson. Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys all so much for coming. We still have like 5 more minutes to the bell, so you guys can hang out. Also, if you filled out those cards, we have a little box over there that's green and really pretty that I made that you drop in. Thank you so much for coming, and have another round of applause for Mr.